Hello everyone, we are back on our Stoicism and Modern Life channel. Today, we will explore the thoughts and principles left by the great Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, not from the perspective of a king who ruled the entire Roman Empire, but from the perspective of a normal person like any of us, who always struggled with how to live well, how to face adversity, and more importantly, how to overcome temptations within himself. Because, my friends, we all know that the fiercest battlefield is not outside, but within our own thoughts and emotions. Meditations, also known as Meditations, is not a dry textbook. Instead, it is a private diary entry, a kind of monologue that Marcus wrote when facing the difficulties of an emperor. Can you imagine? The man the world had to bow to struggled with the same emotions that we all do: anxiety, anger, helplessness in the face of the uncontrollable. And you know what's best? Marcus wasn't trying to be superhuman. He was just trying to be a better person, day by day, little by little. The Stoic principles that Marcus Aurelius wrote down weren't some fancy theory, but rather psychological tools he used to overcome adversity. These tools have survived more than 2,000 years of history and still hold their power. Why? Because they go straight to the core of humanity, to the questions that each of us asks ourselves. How should I live? How can I not lose myself in the world? But don't be so quick to dismiss them as rigid, dogmatic rules. Think of them as methods that you can customize and apply to master your life. Marcus didn't write meditations to preach, but to remind himself. To remind himself that he couldn't control everything. To remind himself that death was inevitable. To remind himself that glory and wealth were fleeting illusions. What does this mean for you and me? It means that these meditations aren't just for an emperor. They're for you, the person watching this video. They're for all of us who are struggling to find peace in a chaotic world. Why are these principles still relevant today? Because they teach us how to live mindfully in the moment, how to hold ourselves together when everything around us falls apart. Imagine this. You're dealing with an unwarranted criticism from your boss, an unexpected accident, or a relationship that's falling apart. Instead of letting those things send you spiraling into negative emotions, you'll learn to turn inward and find the strength to face and overcome them. Calmly, clearly, and resolutely. I invite you to join me in exploring these 22 foundational principles one by one. I'm sure you'll find at least one that will change the way you think and act in your life. So, are you ready? Let's start with the first principle: accept what's beyond your control. So why are these 10 decisions considered life-changing choices from a Stoic perspective? The answer lies in the fact that they allow you to take control of your life. Each decision not only helps you direct your external behavior, but also affects how you interpret events and respond to difficulties. For the Stoics, life is not a series of random events, but a grand stage where we can control how we act regardless of what happens around us. It all starts with intentional choices. Among them, you will find simple but revolutionary decisions, such as learning to say yes to what is truly important and no to things that only drain energy and add no value. It's seemingly easy advice, but if you don't follow it, you'll find yourself stuck in jobs and relationships that aren't conducive to your personal growth. Marcus Aurelius, in his writings, constantly reminded himself, do not waste time on meaningless things. Every moment is an opportunity to act with virtue. Next, we'll talk about the decision to appreciate the limitedness of time and stop wasting it. We often think that we have plenty of time, that tomorrow will be a better time to start. But Seneca warned, we don't have little time, we waste it. Next, we'll talk about the decision to appreciate the limitedness of time and stop wasting it. We often think that we have plenty of time, that tomorrow is a better time to start. But Seneca warned, we don't have little time, we waste too much time. This idea reminds us that time is the only asset that, once lost, can never be recovered. So, deciding to stop procrastinating and start living with urgency is a way to unlock your potential. Another decision you'll find incredibly important is to focus on what you can control. This is a core Stoic principle, recognizing what is within your control, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and what is beyond your control, the weather, the opinions of others, unexpected events. Epictetus said, Learn to distinguish between what you can control and what you cannot. Do not waste your time on what you have no power to change. This is not only a wise decision, but also a guide to help you keep your mind steady in times of chaos. And that's just the beginning. Each of these 10 Stoic decisions will help you train yourself from within, step by step, to build a strong self, capable of overcoming adversity with serenity and clear-headedness. Be prepared to approach each decision with depth and inspiration. Remember, my Stoic friends, just one right decision can change the course of a person's life. And now let's begin the journey of exploring each decision to see its true power. Decision 1. Say yes to what really matters. Let's be honest, my fellow Stoics. How many times have you felt like your life is being pulled in all directions with no end in sight? We've all fallen into the trap of unconsciously saying yes, taking on projects you don't want to do, attending meetings you don't want to be in, or even maintaining relationships that don't add any value to us. We keep saying yes without thinking and end up wondering why we don't have time for the things that really matter in life. Let me put it this way. When you say yes to everything, you're inadvertently saying no to the things that matter most. You don't have to be a Stoic to realize that. Seneca once reminded us profoundly, we do not have a short time to live, but a great deal of it to waste. Every time you get caught up in things that don't matter, you're trading precious moments that you can never get back. Now, I want you to pause and ask yourself, what am I spending my time on each day? Are you spending your energy on things that don't move you closer to your big life goals? Or are you spinning your wheels on tasks that leave you feeling drained and tired without any meaning? Take a cue from Marcus Aurelius, an emperor and Stoic philosopher, who once asked himself, will this matter in 5 years? If the answer is no, then why are you letting it take up your precious time? Now, I want you to take action. Let's do this. Take a piece of paper or open a notepad and write down 3 things you really want to say yes to in your life. It could be spending more time with your family, taking care of your health, or spending your evenings reading and growing your mind. Make those your focus. Then, commit to eliminating at least one of the things you've become accustomed to doing today. Whether it's an unnecessary meeting, a wasted conversation, or an endless stream of social media. Stop procrastinating, my friend. You deserve to spend time on the things that matter, the things that truly bring joy and lasting value to your life. Say yes to them, and you'll see a meaningful life slowly begin to unfold before your eyes. I believe you can do it, and now is the time to start. Decision 2. Practice self-discipline. Self-discipline. Sounds a bit dry and rigid, right? But my Stoic friends, trust me, discipline is not about forcing yourself into a rigid mold, but about freeing yourself from bad habits and the temptation of temporary pleasures. Think about it. How many times do we find ourselves getting caught up in things that don't bring lasting value, only to blame ourselves for not doing what we really wanted? Epictetus said, true freedom is the ability to master oneself. When you have self-discipline, Epictetus said, true freedom is the ability to master yourself. When you have discipline, you are no longer dragged along by temporary emotions or whims. You have the power to say no to temptations and yes to what really matters. Let's be honest. Have you ever felt frustrated because you couldn't complete your goals because you were too easy on yourself? It was that morning when you promised yourself you would wake up early to exercise, but you ended up hitting the sleep 10 more minutes button. Or the time you intended to stop scrolling through social media to focus on work, but a few minutes of innocuous browsing turned into hours. Those moments, seemingly small, have the power to destroy your willpower little by little. And then one day, you look back and ask yourself, how did I spend my time? Marcus Aurelius has a quote that I really like. Get out of bed every morning as if you were embarking on a noble mission. Because that's right. Every morning, you're not just getting up to start a new day, you're creating a foundation for a stronger, more resilient person. See each morning as an opportunity to build mental strength through the smallest actions. So how do you practice self-discipline? Don't start with something big that will easily discourage you. Start small, like getting up 15 minutes earlier every day to write a few lines in your journal, or spend 5 minutes meditating and breathing. These small things are like bricks that you lay down day by day. You will see yourself building a stronger wall of will. And then when you get used to these small actions, you will have enough strength to face and conquer bigger goals that you previously thought you could not achieve. See? Discipline is not about prohibition or coercion, but about giving control of your life back to yourself. You will no longer have to depend on your mood swings or temporary impulses. Instead, you will have the power to decide for yourself. That is true freedom. So, starting today, choose a small habit that you know will bring value to you. Commit to doing it every day, not to please anyone, but to prove to yourself that you have enough strength to master your life. Now write down what you will commit to from today, and together, step by step, build a person you will always be proud of. Decision 3. Don't suffer from the event. Let's think about it for a moment. Have you ever lost sleep or lost your appetite because you were worried about a situation that hasn't happened yet? I bet we've all been there. Constantly thinking about things that haven't happened yet, and finally realizing that what's really causing us pain is not the reality, but the scenarios our minds have created. Seneca said it so well. Most of our fears are monsters of our own minds. I want you to think about this. How many times have you built up scary scenarios only to realize later that they never happened? You see, Stoicism teaches us that the pain and anxiety we experience is largely a product of our own minds, not reality. And the more we let ourselves drift into these negative thoughts, the more frightening they become. Epictetus has a very good piece of advice that I think we should all remember. Do not be a slave to your emotions. Keep your mind calm like a lake, and you will see everything more clearly. Imagine you are standing in front of a lake. If the water is still, you will see your reflection clearly. But if the lake is agitated, everything will be blurry and distorted. That is your mind when it is dominated by fear and anxiety. When you let negative emotions control you, you will lose the ability to see the situation clearly. I know this is not easy to do, but if you are feeling stressed or anxious about something right now, stop and ask yourself, is this really happening? And the more important question, what can I do right now to control this situation? When you start asking the right questions, your mind will be brought back to the present, and you will no longer be swept away by unrealistic fears. What I want you to do right now is focus on what is happening right now. Relax, take a deep breath, and remind yourself that you are here and now. Because peace only comes when you stop chasing after illusions of the future. Trust me, when you spend time being fully present in the present, all stress will gradually disappear like clouds floating across a calm lake. So my fellow Stoics, whenever you feel your mind starting to wander, remember, you always have the choice to not multitask. So my fellow Stoics, whenever you feel your mind starting to wander, remember, you always have the choice to not suffer for things that haven't happened yet. Choose stillness and balance. Decision 4. Stop wasting time. Let's be honest, my fellow Stoics. Do you ever feel like time is flying by without you doing anything meaningful? How many times have you sat there scrolling through social media posts, watching one show after another, only to end the day feeling empty? We do this over and over again without realizing that time is the most precious asset we have, and once it's gone, we can never get it back. Seneca, one of the great Stoics, warned about this a long time ago. Procrastination is the thief of time. Live each day as if it were a separate life. Do you see what he means? Seneca isn't just talking about staying busy. He's reminding us that if we don't use our time wisely, every second that passes without living up to our values is a second we lose the opportunity to create something meaningful. And what about Marcus Aurelius? He had a quote that I've always remembered. You can leave this life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. Imagine that. We don't know what will happen tomorrow or even an hour from now. The only thing you can be sure of is that right now you have control over how you spend it. So don't get caught up in meaningless things. Don't waste your time. Now, I want you to take a moment to ask yourself, what do I usually waste my time on? Do I procrastinate on anything important? And be honest. Grab a pen and paper. Make a list of all the things that are draining your time and energy. Then ask yourself, if this were my last day, would I want to spend time doing this? If the answer is no, then why are you doing it? Get rid of it today. Don't wait until you regret it. Start taking action now. You don't have to do something big to completely change your life. Just start by turning off your phone earlier, spending more time reading, or simply sitting back and reflecting on what really matters to you. And remember, you deserve a life that is not wasted. So, what will you choose? Take action now and make every moment count. Decision 5. Control your emotions. You know, emotions are like a fire. If you control them, they will warm you and light your way. But if you let them get out of control, they will burn everything down. As Epictetus rightly said, it's not the things that happen to you that make you suffer, it's your perception of them. Stop and think for a moment. No one has the right to make you angry or hurt unless you allow it. Imagine, someone comes and insults you. What's the first thing you want to do? Get angry, fight back, and retaliate? But wait, ask yourself, are these words really worth losing my peace? You have a choice. Either let yourself be led by anger, or keep your mind steady, as Marcus Aurelius advised. No one can hurt you unless you allow it. Now, when you feel a negative emotion rising, do this immediately. Stop, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, do I really want this emotion to control me? This is not suppression, but you are taking back control of your mind. From there, you will feel freer, calmer, and much stronger. This is the key to becoming the master of your emotions instead of being controlled by them. Okay, dear Stoics, if you are still listening, it means that what I shared really touched your heart and mind. And if you haven't liked or subscribed to the channel, I would really appreciate it if you would take a moment to do so right now. Your small gesture is not only a support, but also a great source of encouragement, helping me continue to bring more profound, inspiring, and valuable content just for you. But wait, don't leave yet, because the next part will be important pieces to help you complete your own Stoic picture. These are lessons that will give you strength, help you face any challenge with calmness and steadfastness. I believe that what is coming next will be what you need today to firmly step on the Stoic path and become a better version of yourself. Let's move on to Decision 6. Focus on what you can control. Have you ever felt like you were losing your way because of things that were out of your control? Maybe it was a difficult coworker, a sudden rainstorm that ruined your plans for the day, or even just the constant unexpected events that kept coming up. I know the feeling. These moments can easily lead to stress and anxiety. But hey, stop and think. Do you really have control over all of that? Epictetus, a Stoic master, emphasized that your happiness depends on focusing only on what is within your control. You can't change other people's behavior, right? But you can absolutely decide how you react. You can't change the weather, but you can grab an umbrella and tell yourself that today is still a great day. The problem is, we often spend so much time and energy worrying about things that are completely out of our control that we forget about what we can actually change. Marcus Aurelius once said, if it's not in your power to control, don't let it control your mind. Well, if you can't control it, why let it ruin your mood, right? So now, I want you to do something simple. Pick up a pen and write down a small list. Divide it into 2 columns, one for things you can control and one for things you can't control. Whenever you feel anxious or upset, look back at this list. Focus on what you can actually influence: your attitude, your reactions, and your actions. You will find yourself becoming calmer and stronger. Remember, don't let things beyond your control steal your peace. Now let's talk about Decision 7. Be willing to be silly. Most of us are afraid of being judged as incompetent or silly by others. We avoid new challenges because we are afraid of failure, or even afraid to speak up because we are afraid of being laughed at. But Seneca said, "It is not that things are difficult that we do not dare, but that we do not dare that they are difficult." That means that fear only exists when we do not have the courage to face them. When you are willing to step out of your comfort zone and accept the initial silliness, you open the door to personal growth and creativity. Think about the first time you learned a new language. You felt embarrassed, mispronounced something, and probably made others laugh. But if you don't get past this awkward stage, you'll never progress. Dare to walk your own path, even if you are judged by others, wrote Marcus Aurelius. So keep your chin up and be willing to make mistakes. Every time you overcome your shyness, you're one step closer to becoming your best self. Pick something you've always wanted to try, but haven't dared to do for fear of being judged, like learning a new skill or giving a public talk. Don't be shy. Just do it, and don't be afraid to fail. Decision 8. Care for others. Stoicism is not just a philosophy of life for the individual, but also a call to live for the community. As Seneca once reminded, no one can live happily who is concerned only with himself and makes everything his own problem. Take a look at people who live for their own benefit. Do they really feel fulfilled and at peace? Caring for others not only brings them happiness, but also enriches our own lives. It can be small acts of kindness, like listening to someone share their concerns, helping someone in need, or simply spending time with family and friends. These acts create connections and make our lives more meaningful. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Human happiness lies in living in harmony with others." When we give kindness and support, we not only build a better society, but also feel deeply fulfilled and at peace. Pick a loved one or friend and do something to help them without expecting anything in return. You will be surprised at the sense of fulfillment this small act brings. Decision 9. Seek challenge. Humans tend to choose the path of least resistance. It's a survival instinct. However, prolonged comfort kills growth. Seneca once said, "Difficulty builds the mind as work builds the muscles." That means we are only truly strong when we are ready to face adversity. Every time you avoid a challenge, you are letting your weakness control you. On the other hand, when you embrace difficulty, you are building resilience, a stronger ability to endure, and a mindset that is not easily defeated. For example, when you decide to face your fear of public speaking, or take on a big project that you always thought you could not do, you will find yourself growing and becoming more confident. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The obstacle to action spurs action. The obstacle becomes the way." When you choose to face challenges instead of avoiding them, those challenges become the foundation for you to grow stronger. Choose a challenge that you usually avoid, whether it is small, like exercising every day, or big, like starting a business project. Be persistent and don't give up until you conquer it. Decision 10. Focus on how far you can go. When you focus only on the destination, it's easy to get frustrated if things don't go as expected. But Stoicism teaches that we should focus on the journey, not the outcome. Seneca said, "It doesn't matter how fast you go, what matters is that you go in the right direction and never stop." This is a strategic decision that helps you stay persistent and not get discouraged. When you focus on progress, not perfection, you'll always find yourself on the path to progress. Even if your small steps don't lead to big results right away, they add up and create significant change over time. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Live each moment with attention, and you will go farther than you think." So instead of focusing on what you have achieved, look at how far you have come and what lies ahead. Set small, achievable goals each week and each month. Mark your progress, and you will realize that each small step is an important part of the big journey. With these 10 Stoic decisions, you will not only have a new perspective on life, but also find the strength to overcome any obstacle. Choose one decision to start today and watch the change from within yourself. Together, we have explored 10 Stoic decisions that can completely change your journey. But my Stoic friends, I want you to stop and think. All of what we have just discussed will not bring any change if it stops at the theoretical level. Ultimately, what matters most is not how much you know, but what you actually do with it. Now I want you to ask yourself, where do you start? Of the 10 decisions we just covered, which one do you feel could make the most powerful difference in your life? Is it saying yes to the things that really matter, to prioritize what will bring lasting value? Or will you choose to practice self-discipline to build consistent daily habits? Perhaps you want to start by stop wasting time and focus on making each moment count. Your goal is not to strive for perfection right away. but to start with a small, consistent action. As Seneca said, it is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, but because we do not dare that things are difficult. Remember, every small action you take today will eventually turn into a new way of life, a new way of seeing, that will help you become a better version of yourself. So, which one will you choose? If any of these decisions seem really important to you, I encourage you to write it down and post it somewhere you will see it every day. Remind yourself that you are on a journey to becoming a true Stoic. Someone who is in control of themselves, navigating their life with their intellect and will, regardless of what is happening on the outside. Don't worry if there are days when you falter, or feel like things are beyond your control. My fellow Stoics, this journey is not a straight line, and there will be times when you feel lost or disoriented. But don't be discouraged. What makes the difference is the determination to get up every time you fall, learn from your mistakes, and keep moving forward. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Start each day as if it were a new life. Never let yesterday's failure define you." So, I want you to do something really simple right now. Pick one of the resolutions we've explored together, and as soon as this video ends, start putting it into practice immediately. Whether it's taking 5 minutes each morning to meditate like Marcus Aurelius did, or spending a little more time with your loved ones instead of getting caught up in a meaningless social media vortex. Don't let procrastination defeat you. Remember, you don't have to make all 10 decisions at once. Just pick the one that you believe will make the most positive difference in your life right now. Take action, and let each small step lead you to a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. I'd love to hear about your experience and what your first decision will be. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and let's create a Stoic community where we don't just talk about it, we do it to put this philosophy into practice. Thank you for taking the time to watch and join me on this journey of exploring these principles. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Continue to cultivate the Stoic spirit in your daily decisions, and I hope you remain resilient and inspired as you seek inner peace and strength. See you in the next video. Remember to stay strong and live by your true values.